Everyone warned you about the terrible twos. Nobody warned you about three. At two, they screamed. You understood why. At three, they negotiate, manipulate, cry, laugh, and scream, sometimes all in 60 seconds. Three is harder than two for most parents, not because the child is worse, because the child is more. At two, they did not have the words. At three, they have all the words, and they use every single one against you. Your 3-year-old is not a small adult who should know better. They are a brain in the middle of the most dramatic rewiring of early childhood. Here is what nobody tells you about three. The prefrontal cortex just got a small upgrade, and your child discovered they can use it to argue. At two, the meltdown came instantly. At three, there is a whole negotiation phase first, then the meltdown, then another negotiation. 3-year-olds have discovered cause and effect. They are testing it constantly, on you, with everything. Every boundary you set gets tested, not because they want to break it, because they need to know if it is real. A boundary that holds is safety. A boundary that disappears under pressure is terrifying, even if they pushed it themselves. 3-year-olds lie for the first time, not because they are bad, because they discovered they have an inner world you cannot see. The first lie is actually a cognitive milestone. It means they understand that your mind and their mind are separate. That is theory of mind. That is huge. They also tell elaborate stories that are not true. This is not lying. This is the imagination coming fully online. The brain cannot always tell the difference yet. Fear peaks at three. Monsters under the bed, dark rooms, loud noises, dogs, strangers. The fear system is fully active, and the reasoning system cannot calm it yet. Do not tell them the monster is not real. To their brain, it is real. Dismiss the fear and you lose the connection. Name the fear and you keep it. The amygdala fires the same whether the threat is real or imagined. Your child's body does not know the difference. Their cortisol spike is identical either way. 3-year-olds are obsessed with fairness, not actual fairness, their version of fairness, which changes constantly and is always in their favor. That is not fair is one of the most used phrases at three. What they mean is, something happened that I did not want. The concept of fair is still being constructed. 3-year-olds understand more about social dynamics than anyone gives them credit for. They notice who gets more, who gets attention, who is favored, and they remember. Empathy begins to emerge at three, but unevenly. They can comfort a crying friend one minute and snatch their toy the next. Both are real. The brain is inconsistent. 3-year-olds are deeply egocentric, not selfishly, but neurologically. The brain at this age genuinely cannot fully take another person's perspective yet. It is not a character flaw, it is a wiring stage. They think everyone sees what they see. They think everyone feels what they feel. The world and their experience of it are still one thing. Magical thinking is at its peak at three. Wishing makes things real. Thinking a bad thought can cause a bad thing. The line between imagination and reality is very thin. This is why 3-year-olds feel guilty about things that are not their fault. If something bad happened when they were feeling angry, they may believe their anger caused it. The guilt at 3 is real and heavy. It needs to be named and released, not ignored. Your angry feeling did not make that happen is one of the most important things you can say. 3-year-olds ask why constantly, not to annoy you, because the causal reasoning system just switched on and it cannot get enough data. Every why is the brain building a model of how the world works. Answer them. Every time you answer, you add a brick to their understanding of reality. The meltdowns at 3 have a new ingredient: shame. At 2, they fell apart and came back. At 3, they fall apart and feel bad about falling apart. That second layer is new and harder. When a 3-year-old says, "I am stupid" or "I am bad" after a meltdown, that's shame speaking. Correct the shame immediately, not the behavior, the shame first. Shame at 3 hardens fast. A child who hears "you are bad" enough times starts to believe it. The belief becomes the behavior. This is how shame cycles start. Separate the behavior from the child, always. Not "you are bad," but "that behavior was not okay." The distinction matters more than most parents realize. 3-year-olds are developing their identity at full speed. They try on roles constantly: superhero, baby, animal, villain. Each role is a question. Who am I? What can I be? The play at 3 is not just fun. It's the brain's primary tool for processing the world, practicing emotions, and rehearsing social situations. When a 3-year-old plays out a scary scenario, a monster attacking, a baby crying, they are processing something real. Watch the play. It tells you what they are working through. Control is everything at 3. They need to feel some control over their world. When they have none, the meltdown follows. Give control wherever you safely can. Power struggles at 3 are almost always about control. The child is not fighting you, they are fighting helplessness. That is a different thing. Offer control through choices, not open-ended questions. Those overwhelm. Specific options, like "do you want to walk or be carried?" The control is real, the outcome is safe. 3-year-olds are acutely aware of your emotional state. More than at 2. They read your face, your tone, your body language with remarkable precision. If you're anxious, they become anxious. If you're calm, they have something to borrow from. Your regulation is still their regulation. 3-year-olds also start to manage your emotions. They will try to make you laugh when you're sad. They will hide bad news to protect you. This is enormous empathy in a tiny form. But they should not have to manage your emotions. When they feel responsible for your feelings, anxiety follows. You are the regulator, not them. Sleep at 3 is still critical and still disrupted. Night terrors peak at 3. Nightmares begin. The dreaming brain and the fear brain are both very active. A night terror is not a nightmare. The child is not fully awake. Do not try to reason with them. Stay close, keep them safe, wait for it to pass. The 3-year-old who is hardest to handle during the day is often the one processing the most. The most sensitive child carries the most. That sensitivity is also their greatest gift. 3-year-olds need to feel powerful and small at the same time. Powerful enough to make choices, small enough to be held. Both needs are real, both need to be met. The child who says "I don't need you" 5 minutes before climbing into your lap is not confused. They are doing exactly what the brain requires at 3: independence and attachment, both simultaneously. You won't get this perfectly right. That's not the goal. The goal is repair. When you get it wrong, you come back and you reconnect. That repair is what builds security. The rupture and repair cycle is not a failure. It is the most important relationship skill you can model. You got it wrong, you came back. That's the whole lesson. Has your 3-year-old ever said something that genuinely shocked you? Something wise, something dark, something you didn't expect? Tell me in the comments. That brain is doing more than you think. And stay for the next video, because what happens to the brain between 3 and 5 is one of the most dramatic transformations in human development. It explains everything about why school suddenly works and why some kids aren't ready yet.